Mihintalaya, the living monument marking the birthplace of a new civilization in the island Sri Lanka. With the coming of Thera Mahinda in the 3rd century before the Christian era, whatever arts and crafts prevailing at the time not only took a new direction, but in fact, a new tradition of arts and crafts was born. What that civilization left to us in the 3rd millennium can be seen in the water impounded in many seas and the stupas rising to caress the clouds. Though palaces of kings would have been part of the architectural edifices of the time, only a few traces of such buildings can be seen today. Perhaps the foreign invasions and time itself may have helped in the obliteration, thus denying us even a glimpse of them. When the tooth relic of the Buddha became the symbol of sovereign power, the palace to house the repository for the tooth relic was built in close proximity to the royal palace. Looking back now over 2,500 years of a civilization, one is filled with amazement at the creativity of the architects of the civilization, the people of Lanka. Anuradhapura, the first capital of Lanka, founded by King Pandukabhaya, and the capital of a line of kings up to the 10th century. The commentaries to ancient texts say that Pandukabhaya, in planning the city, took into consideration the town planning concepts prevalent at the time. Though over 80 kings reigned at Anuradhapura, there is hardly any visible information in regard to their palaces. These stone pillars, the remnants of a building within the inner city, may perhaps be the remains of a former palace. This has the features of a storied structure, but it is difficult to say for what purpose it was used. This being the largest structural remains within the inner city and being close to Mahapali Dhanashala, the large arms house of the chronicles, the surmise of the archaeologists that it was indeed a king's palace may be true. Mahapali Shala, according to the commentaries, is the hall in the king's palace, where 1,000 monks walking in line could be fed with alms. What is seen of it is clearly only the boat-like stone receptacle for alms. The small relic house for the tooth relic to the southwest of the building, surmised as a king's palace, is an important edifice historically and architecturally. The king's palace would have been in close proximity to it. This is also the only relic house for the tooth relic that has been discovered at Anuradhapura. It appears to be a simple, charming two-storied structure made mainly of stone. Though remains of palaces are hardly to be found at Anuradhapura, there is, by the Thisavava, in the Ranmasu Uyana, a summer palace built by the kings. The palace is built at a height and is surrounded by a moat. Ranmasu Uyana and the summer palace are both fine examples of architectural and irrigational engineering. The palace complex consists of 3 buildings. One in the center was apparently a many-storied one. The soft, cool winds blowing across Thisavava and the mild breeze wafting across the great stupa would have soothed both the bodies and minds of the kings who spent their time here. To the left of the summer palace, along the Thisavava Bund, is the Ranmasu Uyana, a fine example of a royal garden. It reveals the extraordinary creativity of the landscape artists of the time. The name Ranmasu, the legends say, is from the golden-colored fish that adorned the ponds. This is the only example of a private park in Anuradhapura. The ponds, built in perfect harmony with the natural landscape, it is said, were bathing spots of the queens. Harmony with the natural environment was a basic concept underlying Buddhist architecture and landscaping, a concept that spread with the spread of Buddhism to China and beyond. Water flowing down brick-laden channels. What is significant is that the water is not channeled through a sluice. There was a continual flow of water. The baths, which are fine examples of stonework, add to the beauty of the garden. The elephant figures of Mavallipuram in India at a later date show a close similarity to the elephant figures sculptured on the natural rock face of a pond here. Buildings have been cleverly constructed on top of rock peaks and connected by stone bridges and railings, as shown by what is left of these structures. Some of the features created within the royal garden are not seen elsewhere and provide insight into the skill of the stone craftsmen and expertise of the hydraulic engineers. Perhaps Ranmasu Uyana on the banks of the Thisavava is only second to Sigiriya as an aesthetic creation.